Welcome to today's explainer. When we think about celestial journeys, we usually picture something peaceful, right? Maybe a bit of enlightening meditation. Well, today we're diving into a genuinely ancient text that paints a very, very different picture. We're going to explore the prophet Enoch's cosmic journey, and honestly, it is profound, it's mind-bending, and frankly, it's downright terrifying. We're going to see exactly what happens when human frailty absolutely collides with the overwhelming, unfathomable reality of the cosmos. Let's get right into it. Woe is me, what has befallen me? I just want you to let the raw panic in those words sink in for a second. This isn't the calm, collected voice of some spiritual master who has everything all figured out. This is the sound of absolute, unadulterated terror. And it immediately poses a pretty fascinating question. What could possibly break a revered prophet like Enoch? What could strip away all his composure and just leave him trembling in the dark? Well, before we can really understand his revelation, we have to look at the context of his ascent and the sheer unimaginable scale of the environment he suddenly finds himself in. Section 1. The Edge of the Seventh. So, according to the text, Enoch hasn't just hiked up a tall mountain here. He's actually been escorted by celestial companions to the ultimate boundary of the seventh heaven. He is literally standing right at the precipice of the divine throne itself. Now, I want you to completely forget the familiar, comforting imagery of angels you might be used to, the guys with halos and harps, because at this boundary, Enoch is confronted by the cherubim and seraphim. The text describes them as six-winged and many-eyed ones who continuously stand around the divine throne, covering it entirely. It's just this alien, totally overwhelming majesty. By focusing on these many-eyed Gurians, the text is really emphasizing just how impossibly far from the familiar human world Enoch has actually traveled. I mean, he is completely out of his depth here. But here's where we get this truly fascinating sensory contrast. These beings, they sing an unending song. Holy, holy, holy Lord, ruler of Sabaoth, heavens and earth are full of thy glory. And despite their horrifyingly beautiful, and let's face it, pretty incomprehensible appearance, the text makes a point to note that they sing this unending song with a gentle voice. It's wild, right? The paradox between their terrifying, cosmic forms and the sheer gentleness of their worship creates this incredibly profound sense of awe. Section 2. Abandoned and terrified. So right at the threshold of the divine, Enoch suffers what I can only describe as a jarring emotional whiplash. The guides he's been relying on completely, these celestial beings who safely escorted him through all the lower heavens, they suddenly just announce, Enoch, thus far is it commanded us to journey with thee. And just like that, they vanish. Poof. His entire support system just evaporates into thin air, leaving him in sudden, crushing isolation. And this happens at the exact moment he is facing literally the most intimidating environment in existence. It's this massive, terrifying psychological plunge, all taken in a fraction of a second. And his reaction? It's intensely physical and honestly deeply human. He literally falls flat on his face, crying out, "My Lord, my soul is departed from me, from terror and trembling." He is practically paralyzed by the sheer weight of the divine presence and the crushing reality of his sudden isolation. He's basically begging for the guides who brought him up there to just come back. Because let's be real, the human mind simply cannot cope with the pure scale of the eternal without some kind of buffer. And for Enoch, his buffer is just completely gone. Section 3. A leaf in the wind. But thankfully, Enoch is not left there to break completely. Seeing him paralyzed by fear, the Lord sends a lifeline right into the abyss. The archangel Gabriel arrives, and his approach is just incredible. It's this perfect mix of a comforting hand and a strict command. He says, "Have courage, Enoch. Do not fear. Arise before the Lord's face into eternity. Arise, come with me." Gabriel is basically demanding that Enoch abandon his earthly human fears. Like he can't just stay there hiding on his face. He has to rise up and face eternity head on. But the thing is, Enoch is still paralyzed. He physically cannot do it himself. So the text gives us this incredibly vivid metaphorical picture. Gabriel caught him up as a leaf caught up by the wind and placed him before the Lord's face. Just think about that for a second. Think about the absolute powerlessness of a single leaf caught in a massive gale. That is Enoch in this moment. It so brilliantly shows the stark contrast between absolute divine power and our human frailty. Gabriel just effortlessly, physically lifts this completely helpless prophet and basically carries him across the ultimate threshold. Section 4. Mysteries of the Cosmos. Having surrendered completely to this divine force, Enoch's perspective shifts, and I mean it shifts violently. Up above the seventh heaven, he looks out into the regions beyond and sees, literally, the mechanics of the universe. He sees the eighth heaven, which is called Madzaloth in Hebrew. And its function? Well, it's the changer of the seasons, governing the cycles of drought and wetness, and it actually houses the 12 signs of the zodiac. Then he looks even higher and sees the ninth heaven, Kuchavim, which serves as the heavenly homes for those 12 signs of the zodiac. He is essentially staring directly into the literal control room of the cosmos. It's absolutely mind-blowing. So, Enoch's utterly terrifying journey actually has a massive payoff. By surviving his paralyzing fear and just allowing himself to be carried forward, he's rewarded with a mind-bending understanding of the universe's most fiercely guarded mysteries. He sees realms that are entirely beyond human comprehension, realms that govern seasonal changes and organize the eternal heavenly homes of the zodiac constellations. His journey totally shifts gears here, moving from a profound, crippling struggle with human terror directly into the ultimate cosmic revelation.
And that thought right there is exactly what I want to leave you with today. We've traced Enoch from the absolute comfort of his initial guides, plunging into a truly terrifying isolation, and finally arriving at this incredible state of awe as he literally witnesses the gears of the cosmos turning. It really forces us to ask, what earthly fears must we abandon to truly understand the greater mysteries of the universe? Because, sometimes the only way to grasp something truly profound is to just let go of our obsessive need for control, allow ourselves to be a leaf in the wind, and bravely face the unknown. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and definitely keep questioning what lies just beyond the edges of the familiar. Catch you next time.